Although you said that you didn't want to be reading from your books, but I found a couple of passages, and there's one that I thought was particularly nice from Serious Men. Maybe I'll read it out while we're waiting for people to join. Just a just a little passage, because I found it really nice, and I think it's a nice, instead of doing the formal LinkedIn introduction, is what I call it. This is usually a better introduction for an author, as if I read a couple of passages written by that individual. So here goes, and after this, I'll also do the LinkedIn, and then we'll move in. This is from Serious Men, and it's page 156 in this edition. Sometimes those things can shift. It says, as a boy, he had once gone with friends to count the steam engines from a footbridge. He had seen a pair of fleeing lovers on the narrow gauge track running towards the railway platform, fearing that the world was chasing them. The man was holding a black briefcase and the girl was carrying a small cloth bag. For many years after that, even now on this rainy night, in the corner of his mind, Acharya associated love with lightness and marriage with extra luggage. Usually, when he and Lavanya arrived at the airport, he was pushing an overloaded trolley like the hotel housekeeping, arriving at a door. There was another reason why he felt odd as he walked up the gradient. This was the first time he was sending Lavanya off. Normally, it was she who would send him off. Or she traveled with him, and that was always an event. She never let him take shoulder bags. Suitcases it had to be. Clothes don't get crumpled that way, she would say. He secretly admired her logic and even conceded that she was right. But a bag to him was a symbol of nomadic freedom, an imperfection that said the journey was not important, the destination inconsequential. A suitcase, on the other hand, was a sign of grand departures and self-important arrivals. It was a confession, like the shirt of a dandy, that life was important. So I love that. So I thought I should read it out.
I'm listening to it for the first time, and I've not read the passage since the publication of the book. So I'm so glad to hear it.
Wonderful.
Sometimes I just worry because I worry that I may not like anything I hear after so long, because it was published in 2010. And even now, I myself have become a suitcase guy. I'm not the bad guy. So it looks like I'm listening to someone else. It's like someone else's book.
Yeah. So just for context, guys, I had asked Manu if he would read a small section of his own writing. He refused, which I understand completely. But since I liked it so much, I thought I'd read out the little passage. So Manu, as you all know, is the author of Serious Man, Illicit Happiness of Other People, Miss Leila, Armed and Dangerous. He's also the creator of the Netflix series Decoupled. He was the editor of Open Magazine and a columnist for New York Times. His first nonfiction is out this August. So that's a good place for us to start the conversation. But before that, I also want to add, he's won many prizes. The Hindu Literary Prize, once you won it, once you were nominated, is that right? Shortlisted? Yeah. Right. And the Open Pen Award, that was the other one also that you won for Serious Men. Serious Men was also made into a movie starring Nawazuddin Siddiqui, and it was a good movie. So actually, there's so many things to talk about. We just have half an hour, but I'll jump in. So, book into movie. Was it seamless? Was it pleasure? Was it pain?
Actually, it was. If you've written a book at that time, and also, or if you wrote an article which was a big hit, you would hear from a producer, wanting your film rights. It is one of those. It's almost like a one-night stand, because you don't hear from them again. It is a very enthusiastic conversation, and then I would later realize why these things happen, because for some reason a film is an extremely difficult thing. Anything which involves more than one person, collaboration somehow is difficult, because the problem with film is not money as people think. It's everything else. But anyway, there was this, but it is always an auspicious sign when the producer has actually read the book, when the person was, and was a big fan of the book, Sejal Shah, who was starting a company, who was a journalist herself. She was starting a company, and the first few lakhs that she had, she bought the options. So that I appreciate. I appreciate anyone who actually puts the money where the mouth is. Then I know that they're going to pursue it, you know. And at that time, then they went to Sudhir Mishra, and at that time there was no Netflix and
Hmm.
all that. It was all you make a Hindi. And all through my 20s, I've written movies before I wrote novels or proper short stories, you know, because I just love. I mean, I always wanted to make my own film. And in the 20s in Bombay, I mean, I would be the only one writing, and then my friends who are also in their 20s, they'll try for half a day to sell it, and then they'll forget it, you know. And
Yeah.
I'm the only one who's writing 100, 200 pages. But anyway, so then I thought, okay, this is rubbish. I'm going to just focus on novels. So when this happened, suddenly, and then I thought that if it's for theatrical release as a Hindi film, maybe I should not insist that I will write it. You know, it was a decision I myself made and told them, because one of the owners of the company which is buying the book, he himself was a writer, Bhavesh Mandalia. So, but then Netflix came in, you know,
Ah.
and then it became a Netflix movie. Maybe, but anyway, I didn't want to change anything, and I told them that as as a person who read books and watches films, I think this whole business of faithful uh, uh,
Reproduction.
adaptation of a film
Yeah.
is a very naive and amateurish, poetic idea, chiefly of novelists.
Hmm.
A completely different medium. The novel's strength comes uh, from inside the mind of characters, which is one place cinema and journalism doesn't go. And
Right.
all attempts to try to do it, and even Coen Brothers, when they all do well, but they're very rare.
Yeah.
So I was open to it, and even if I wrote it as a film, I would have done it very differently.
Hmm.
So yeah, so that's how it happens, and things sometimes just everything just falls in place suddenly in a week, and that's exactly happened in Serious Way. It was not happening, and then everything is happening, and then we are signing the contracts, and uh, and but I was there for every day of the shoot. I was
Okay.
on the sets.
Oh, nice.
In fact, Sudhir Mishra treated me so well that an actress always thought I was a producer. She thought I was a funny. Like, why is everybody? Because he made me do the first clap or whatever and everything. And then when I said writer, it's like writer. It's like, but everybody's like, you're the superstar, and they're not used to the writer on the set being treated with so much importance. With this, which is what Sudhir Mishra did for me. You know, I was not even the writer of the film. You know, so I was just loitering around just to pick up the craft and see how he's making this film. But to me, Nawaz was an improvement of Iron. Just his personality was an improvement of Iron over the book also
Right.
somehow, you know. And it is strange, you know, it was some kind of a corrupt version of Nana Patekar I had imagined when I was writing Iron,
Hmm.
you know, not exactly Nana Patekar, but
Hmm.
and Nawaz I thought was kind of magic, you know, Nawaz and Oja, Indu, the actress.
Yeah. Yeah. No, he did a great job.
Yeah.
It's a fun movie to watch. If you haven't seen it, you guys should see it. So, since we are on screen, let's stay with screen. So, from Serious Man, which year was this? About 6, 7 years ago?
2010. No,
2010.
no,
So,
2010 was when the novel was released.
yeah, yeah. No, I'm talking about the show.
2020, it was, I
Ah,
think the film was released 2020 or 19.
right.
Yeah.
And from there to decoupled. So, how did that transition go? So, you learned the craft, and clearly you did learn it because
Yeah,
now.
yeah, I was very clear. That's why I went every day to the
Hmm.
sets
Hmm.
to just learn as much as I can. And I've written so many screenplays and all that. But then, I mean, I did write a movie called Love Kitchdi,
Oh, right.
which I don't think anybody has watched, with Randeep Hooda, you know, but I
Okay.
wrote it in my 20s, but then that also took a while to come out, you know. The thing with film is that when you're writing, you're of a certain age, and by the time it is released, you you become so mature that you don't want to watch it, right? Um, decouple happened when I was talking to Bombay Fables. I said that I want to do something like this, you know, this chiefly with the the absurdity of life, and
Mm.
comedy around the absurdity of life. And I like the idea of a screenplay which is not a short story or a novel, which is pure screenplay.
Right.
So again, same thing happened. We just talked, and then we went to meet Monica of Netflix, and they were new then. You know,
Mm.
it is so different from now. The
Mm.
entire world is going to them, and they don't have time to meet or
Yeah. They
read. Or,
don't talk to anyone. Yeah.
then they were looking for interesting content, which is not TV, which is not what people are used to. The pitch went off really well, you know,
Mm.
and it just worked out. And then COVID happened,
Oh boy.
and then we thought everything is over. But then again, we contacted Madhavan, and in 2 days, because of COVID, because everything was cancelled, right? So we were able to graft Madhavan in, probably because of COVID.
Wow.
It all happened so fast. So that's what I feel, that it is very funny, because as writers, we work on so many things, and things take time, things never work, you know. In fact, you should have a session with writers on failure, because
Mm.
I think the real inspiration for a lot of people will be how common failure is.
Right.
Actually, the success is what people can never identify with, but
Yeah.
all the a number of times, because the more things that you do, and for many reasons things don't work out, and especially as a professional. I mean, uh, I was with a historian. I was with the British historian in Sri Lanka, and we were flying back together. And he had to make a decision about something, and he was in. I could understand his pain, because at a professional level, you invest 6 months, 1 year, it better happen. And if it doesn't happen, it's a colossal, I mean, time. That's the kind of time you never recover.
Right.
So you have to be very careful. For example,
Mm.
if you're working on a screenplay or a book or a non-fiction, the the most of the time, what professionalism is about is knowing that you can pull it off, not not that you can approximate the quality that you want. That's a
Mm.
that's a whole different set of things. You know.
Mm.
So yeah.
Nice. Sure. So now, do you see yourself writing a lot more screenplays? Do you see yourself writing a lot more books? Where does your heart lie? And of course, the money is a separate thing. So the heart and the money. But tell
Yeah,
us about that dichotomy. Is there a dichotomy?
there's no dichotomy.
Hmm.
Money, yes, there's more money upfront. Thank you so much, boss. Yeah,
You got your chai. I still haven't got mine.
I got my chai, and it's also an interesting sociological moment, because he's actually a cook, and the cooks don't like to serve. I've
Yes.
heard. They
Yes.
don't like to bring, because he's also male,
Ah.
and unfortunately for him, I'm on the call. But I told him I'll come and get it, But he has, so it's good. I like these things.
Yeah. That nuances everything, I
India
think.
is full of complicated things which need not be complicated.
Yeah. So you were talking about screenplay, money,
Yeah,
books.
yeah, yeah. So let's keep the money aside.
Mm-hmm.
I feel that there is no. I mean, these are things I can do. I can write the literary novel which is in a crisis,
Mm-hmm.
because the actual market in terms of the volume is in Britain and US
Mm-hmm.
for the English novel.
Yeah.
And Britain, of course, is more genuinely interested in the world outside. The US is a very insular market. They have absolutely no interest. And generally, also, there's no interest in India. Indians
Yeah.
have a wrong assumption that people are interested. Sometimes when something is going on there, you
Mm-hmm.
arrive at the right time, and then they might be interested in some things.
Yeah.
So there is that. And then I love nonfiction. There are two nonfiction books that I'm like, I wish there were two or three of me, so that I can do it. This stage is
Right.
the most productive time of my life. I have so many ideas. I have a novella I want to write. I've started writing on a novel, and there are these two nonfiction and but then I'm getting screenplay offers, so that I have to now allocate hours uh, in the day, and all of these are very dear to me. So, but the thing is, the nonfiction takes the most time. If it
Yeah.
is kind of a research-based nonfiction, or even if it is an opinion-based nonfiction, it takes the most time, and it is the riskiest venture. Because they that that's one thing which I don't like about the fact that this sort of intellectuality is run by the West,
Mm,
because they have the biggest market, but actually they're not so interested in the people who live in those places.
mm,
So it is more evangelical, in the sense that if they are going out and doing something,
mm,
then they have a kind of okay, they would be interested in it. Like, for example, if a Malcolm Gladwell
mhm.
were, say, Somalian, with the same theories, okay,
That's
who's
brilliant.
interested? Who's interested? So, okay,
Yeah.
it is not
Yeah.
about the outlier, right? So it is about uh, an idea coming from America,
Yeah.
or the thing, but at the same time, they've invented a great thing, and it is so tempting to do it. The idea of a non-fiction, a journalistic book.
Mm,
It is
mm,
so exciting, to do something like that, because one part of me is a journalist, and to tell it well, because most journalists are not very good writers.
mm.
So when you feel that you can write it, and you can tell a story, uh, it is very frustrating when you don't have the time, you
So,
know, to do
so
it.
you have a non-fiction coming out in August. Can you tell us anything about that, or is
Yeah,
it
it's
still hard
called
time?
Why the Poor Don't Kill Us.
Sorry.
Why the Poor Don't Kill Us.
Ah, okay.
Um, the second title is The Psychology of Indians. It is also the title of one of my columns in Mint Lounge.
Mm-hmm.
A few years ago, though, the book is not a collection of columns. It's a
Sure.
separate, I'm making obvious and not so obvious arguments of why we are so safe um, in a place where there is so much inequality, and
Yes.
there are people with almost nothing watching us, uh,
Right.
having a reasonably good life,
Yeah.
and I'm making some arguments on why there is peace,
Mm.
uh,
Interesting.
because I feel that many of the interesting arguments in India are not uh, uh, are not about why bad things happen, but why good things happen,
Mm.
which is what has always confused me.
Mhm. Mm. But what you're saying is also it's sort of like why a bad thing hasn't happened,
Yes,
which is like saying why it's a good thing for us at
yes,
least.
yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Interesting.